What's up, Internet? Big J with Big J's Extreme Fitness. I know you clicked on the video to think, wow, okay, Big J's going to help us with some ailments, back pain, drug addiction, and depression, and he just did a video about depression and how to pull yourself out of it. I know that I've done some Periscope and some Twitter and some Instagram stuff and even Snapchat now about certain situations that I've been in and certain things that I've tried to help other people with, but this is actually my drug addiction, my depression, and being injured in my back pain and everything else that hurts, where it's put me in my life right now. So I'm sorry, I have lied to you guys multiple times during my lifts, talking about my back and my knees and my shoulders and, you know, you need to slow down. No, I'm fine. I've actually been in pain for a long time. I have been addicted to pain medication for a long time. I'm not addicted now, but I'm actually looking at some pill bottles right now because I am in, again, serious pain. Let me start at the beginning, and before I go any further, again, if you feel like not watching this video, you don't want to hear me talking, there's no amazing effects, there's no music, there's no Slap City, there's no PRs being broke, it's just me sitting here talking to you guys, just like I love doing on Instagram, or not Instagram, but Periscope. And it's going to be a while before I get done. If you decide to unsubscribe because I've been lying to you guys, I'm sorry. From the bottom of my heart. I have definitely not been the leader that I needed to be by saying everything's fine. And I'm sorry. All the best to you if you have to go on without watching another video. If you stay and support me, thank you so much. Because I am always here for anybody that I talk to. People that message me, they always get a response once I get around to reading that message. I go overboard. I will give you the shirt off my back and the hat off my head and the shoes off my feet if you need it. Because I've got another shirt, another pair of shoes, another hat at home. I will not turn my back on anybody that has helped and reached out for help from me, even in my time of depression. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, just letting you know. I love everybody that I come across because I've actually finally matured. Took me almost 35 years, but I finally got there. There's still a lot of things I need to work on in my life, and I don't want to get into that. But at this point, I do know that I've got a problem. Let's talk about that problem. Drug addiction, depression, and chronic body pain. I'm talking about my shoulders, my elbow, my back, even my knees. Back when I was a kid, I grew up on a farm, cutting wood, hauling hay, you know, picking food out of the garden, fixing fences, mowing grass, tons and acres of grass, driving grain trucks, and just working hard. You know, that's the way I think everybody should be raised. But for some reason, when I was a kid, I always had back pain, always had problems, always kind of felt like I needed to take a Motrin or something before I went to bed, and always felt like I'd wake up stiff, and I was just too young to feel like that. That's what grandpas feel like. That's what dads that are, you know, in their 50s and 60s feel like. But I always had some problems. I don't know if I ever went to the doctor to find out what was wrong with me because it never got fixed. I do know that once I got into junior high, and this is where the story begins, we were maxing out, and this was back when the weights were concrete and they were covered in plastic. I believe they were Weeder weights. And then we did have some 25, real thin 25-pound plates. I don't remember what they said, but the bars were real skinny. They weren't the 2-inch, or I don't know how thick the bars are, maybe 2 1/4 inches, you know, that you use nowadays, the standard weights. But I had never had weight on my back besides a bale of hay or some wood or a rucksack or something to haul around. And they were telling us we need to put the bar on our back and squat down, sit on the bench and stand back up. And basically the way the squat racks were built, and they were actually used as shoulder presses, bench presses, you name it, even deadlifts, they were bolted to the floor. It was 2 poles that went up and then went straight to the wall, bolted to the wall, and then there was a handle on there. Okay, the handle below the platform or below the little sliders that went up and down, you could lock it in. And of course, there was nobody lifting more than 150, 200 pounds. We were kids, you know, 7th grade. And it was on one side. So we were all up there in the field house, and it was probably the size of my kitchen, maybe twice the size. And there was a coach there. He was a spotter, and there was another coach there. And these were kids, too. They're in their 20s. He was writing down the weights with the names, and there was another coach there. She was a good-looking coach, and she was flirting, and he was flirting back, and he wasn't paying attention to the people that were spotting or squatting. So basically, the coach told me to get up underneath the barbell, and I don't even know. It might have been 100 pounds. I really don't know how much weight was on there. And I was still real little at that point. We hadn't started making enough money for me to start eating the ding-dongs and the ho-hos and the Twinkies and the pancakes and everything else that we started eating when we get a little bit more money in the household. But I got up underneath it. Again, I'm not sure how much the weight was. And as soon as I kind of stood up with it, I said, hey, coach, this is too heavy. And he was still flirting with the female coach beside him. And he goes, English, get your ass in there and lift, you know. And I said, it's too heavy, coach. He said, just squat, damn it. And so basically, I don't know if that was actually what he said, but there was a lot of those words were close to the verbiage of what was said. And so I was like, all right. And so there was a bench underneath us, and we were supposed to squat down, touch the bench, and stand back up. And I bottomed out. I mean, I just, bam, and I hit my butt. And it felt like I had two knives on either side of my spine, twisting, lightning bolts going down my sciatica, in the middle of my butt, going down the outside of my legs. And I saw lightning bolts. And I almost cried. It was just so painful. I was like, oh, you know, I took in that breath, like, you know, that breath you get. And he goes, stand up, squat. And I was like, okay. So I started going up and it hurt. And he locked it in and he, get your ass out of there. So I moved out of the way and I literally crawled out of the way. And there was people making fun of me and laughing at me. And the coach was like, get your ass out of the way. You're wasting our time. Didn't even get a squat. Get out of here. And from then on, I decided, okay, I've dealt with back pain. It hurt like a son of a bitch. I'm telling you, that was the worst back pain I'd had up until that time. And I didn't want to make a fuss about it. I didn't want to complain about it. You know, there was men in my life that, you know, were really hardcore and lived a hard life and twice as hard. I was playing football, for Christ's sake. I wasn't out in the field picking cotton, you know, or driving the tractor or hauling hay. I was having fun playing football. And I didn't want to complain because if I did, I knew I'd be drug out of football and I'd be back out on the field, you know, plowing or whatever, working. So I did not want to go back to that. Serious, severe pain. I'm talking like literally. So I decided I needed to do something. So I started looking through the medicine cabinets, finding some pills for pain, finding some anti-inflammatories, taking those when I was a kid. You know, I was searching through. I know there's some family members that watch this video, and this is probably some news to you. Sorry, this is just the truth. It's raw. If you don't like what you're hearing, go ahead and turn it off. I'm going to keep going. So back to trying to figure out what was okay and what was not okay. Still doing some work on the farm, still playing football, dying, getting clobbered by people twice my size. I figured out that alcohol was a pretty good thing. I'd spent the night over a couple people's houses. We drank some of their parents' liquor and alcohol, and it made me feel good. I didn't feel pain at that point. So I decided, aha, I know what'll make me feel better. Alcohol is a drug if it's used incorrectly. Anything is a drug. You know, coffee, caffeine is a drug. Food is a drug. Anything that you're addicted to can be considered a situation to that addiction that can change your life. So I had found an addiction that would make me feel better, and it was alcohol. It tasted good, too. When I was a kid, I loved it. Loved it. Drank it, stole it, put it underneath my bed, drank myself to sleep from my 7th grade on until the day I left the house. And again, if that's information that you are looking to go, oh, Big J, your life has been a lie, I don't like this, please feel free, again, to turn the video off, unsubscribe, and I wish you the best. If you would like to sit and listen to the rest of the story, I would appreciate that because I have always wanted to support you guys, and again, I look to you guys for my inspiration, my motivation, and my support because if it wasn't for you, I would not be able to sit here and tell my story and anybody in the world give a flip about listening to it. So thank you again for your support. Moving on. Once I got able to join the military, which was my end of my high school years, I could not wait to leave. Couldn't wait to get out of the house. Couldn't wait to make a name for myself or to become an adult. And I lied about back pain. I lied about knee pain. I'd already had severe knee and back pain when I was a kid playing football and working my butt off as a child on the farm. I was a mechanic for 3 years at a gas station. I'd done a lot of jobs. And again, bending over the car, playing football, you know, bending over, grabbing a bale of hay, grabbing tomatoes off a plant sent severe pain down my legs. This is, again, probably some new information to some of you people that have known me for a long time. Addicted to alcohol. Alcoholism is something that ran rampant in my family as far as drinking and drug addiction. At this point, I wasn't addicted to drugs. I was just drinking alcohol to put myself to sleep. And I would start drinking alcohol during the day at school. I'd go out to my truck and I'd drink a hot beer just to make sure my back pain was not intolerable. Okay? I'd play football games drunk. I'd drink a 6-pack of beer before I'd play a football game. Literally. And the coaches would smell it and I'd lie. No, I'm not drinking. I drink mouthwash. I got stinky breath. I don't know what to tell you. So once I joined the military, I found it a lot easier to buy alcohol, and you didn't have to hide it because every single person in the military drank, and that was easy to fall into. I was like, hey, you're an alcoholic, I'm an alcoholic. Yay, cheers to alcoholism. So we drank until we were blue in the face, drank like fish. It did not matter. As long as you performed as a soldier and you deployed and you did what you were supposed to do while you're in another country deployed, and you came back, you cleaned your weapon, you shined your boots, and you pressed your uniform, and you swept the floor, then by God, you can drink and do whatever the hell you want to do while you're doing that. So, humping the 60 as an infantryman in Fort Campbell made it worse, but I didn't want to complain. I did not want to complain one bit because, again, there was men in my family that probably had a billion times more problems wrong with them and never complained a day in their life. Not that I heard of. Humping the rut, deploying to different countries, doing different things, jumping out of airplanes, helicopters, jumping up and down, doing the calisthenics and the PT that we did for days and hours at a time. Still so painful. But at this point, finally found some medication, got hooked on it, continued to drink, and there would be literally hours, days, weekends, weeks that would go by, and I would go, damn, what month is this? It was that bad. So getting away from that, finding out, okay, there is a problem. I've got to fix it, but do I want to fix it? Nope. I'm okay with drinking alcohol. I can still get up and run 5 miles with the best of them. I can still do just as many push-ups as anybody else could. I could still work out because I was working out with some really cool bodybuilders back then. So why fix it? Nothing's wrong. I was a functional alcoholic. And again, remembering in my family, there was tons of drug addiction and tons of alcoholism that was probably hereditary, but I was in a situation to where I made it okay to be addicted to alcohol and to drugs. It got to where when I would be out downrange, deployed to another city, state, or country, I would literally start not necessarily going through withdrawals, but think, golly, I can't wait to get back to get a drink, man. This sucks. It's too cold. It's too hot. I'm miserable. I need a drink. When we got back from being overseas on a deployment, to come back, we would go party. We'd go to a bar, drink all the beer, shut the bar down. And I actually drank way too much one time, and I got behind the wheel, and I don't do that anymore. I don't drink anything. You get behind the wheel. That's not what you do. But I got behind the wheel and got pulled over. I got a DUI. And at that point, my punishment, which I'm thankful that I did to realize that I really was an alcoholic, they sent me to Alcoholics Anonymous in the military. I'd actually spent 3 days in jail. I got put on extra duty. They took my stripes off my shirt. As a matter of fact, I jumped in a 50-gallon trash can. They told me to rip the stripes off my sleeves and then get the hell out of the office. So they took all my rank back down to a private. They sent me to track one. I think it was track one, and it was like a day thing. Yeah, I'm an alcoholic, but I'm going to stop drinking. Okay, no problem. I went back and started partying the same day that I left. And they said, well, you haven't recovered, so next month we're going to send you to track two. Track two was a weekend program. You checked in Friday afternoon after you got off work, after last formation, and then you'd be able to check back out for first formation at 5 a.m. Monday morning. And so, I could go 3 or 4 days without drinking. So I passed. I got the certificate. I went and got in a bar fight. They're on post. I beat the dog shit out of somebody, and I got the hell beat out of me at the same time. We fought. I was drunk, of course. They said, English, you got a problem. You're going to track 3. You're going to be checked into a rehab center, and you're going to be there for a month. What does that make you feel? And I said, screw it. Send me. Whatever. I've been to tons of classes that torture me. I'm fine. Spent a whole month in rehab. Okay, I didn't tell anybody this. This is all new data to a lot of my friends and family members. Spent a month, did everything I was told to do, said everything I was said to say, and graduated with flying colors. Didn't have any withdrawals, didn't have any problems. The minute I got out of there, I got in my pickup truck, drove to Class 6, which is where you got your booze from, picked up a case of beer, went back to my barracks room, and drank every damn bit of it to celebrate that I passed Alcoholics Anonymous Track 3. Once I was stationed in Germany, I went from Fort Campbell, Kentucky to Germany. I can't remember, 5th Infantry, 8th Infantry Division. They were a mechanized unit. I was walking on the top of a 113, I think it was. Yeah, because it had the trim vane in the front. I hadn't said trim vane in years. And then the camouflage tent at the top, there was ice. It was like 5 or 6 degrees. I think we were in Grafenwehr. And I was walking off the top, and my foot slipped down in between the trim vane, and I fell forward. When I fell forward, my body flipped around, and then I landed flat on my back from about 5 feet up, 6 feet up. Anytime you land flat, it felt like somebody grabbed my ankles and then just kind of slung me and hit me on the ground. It hurt. And that's when I finally went to the doctor after years, literally decades of pain. Lied about the pain all my life. Didn't say anything about it. Didn't tell anybody. But I was like, thank God I get to go to the doctor finally and figure out what's wrong with me. I had severe degenerative joint disease, DJD, I believe is what that is. I had a couple of compressed, what the hell you call them, discs, and I had 2 fractured vertebrae. L5 and S1 have been fractured for decades, they said. You've had hairline fractures in your back for almost 20 years. So since I was a kid, I don't know what I did. Maybe I fell off the barn, fell off the back of a tractor, got kicked in the back. I don't know what it was, but I'd had a fracture in my back for so long. So at that point, they put me in like a little body cast from my chest down to my midriff, right above my private area there. And it was to tighten everything up and to not breathe and to not move and to not run. And then at the point, I became depressed, more depressed than ever. I was undeployable. I was considered somebody that I wasn't able to be relied upon because I had had back problems and I was in this body cast and nobody wanted to take me out with them. Nobody wanted to be in the same foxhole with me. Nobody wanted to go to combat with me. It was just one of those things to where, English is, he's on his way out. He's old. He's hurt, whatever. I was 22 or 3 years old. I was a young man. Finally got to where it felt better. Still big time pills, man. I'm talking pills every day. I don't know if I've talked about these pills yet or not. I got them right here because I'm struggling to not take one right now because my back is killing me right now, worse than it did when I got run over by the Humvee, and I'm gonna get to that story next. After I got a little better, was out doing a deployment. I was in the desert. We had been working for 3 days straight. No sleep, no food, no water. I mean, of course, we had some rations, but we were in the heat, okay? After we were pulled back, we were told, okay, rest, relax, do your thing. I was a sergeant. I've been awake for hours. I'm going to lay down and take a nap. Well, I laid down. At this point, a Humvee was driving through the area that we were supposed to be secured in and rolled up my left foot, left leg, broke 2 bones, or broke the bone in 2 places on this left ankle there, rolled up my butt, and on the lower L5S1, which had been fractured all my life, refractured it, rolled up my spine, crushed all the ribs on my left-hand side, and I'm laying on my stomach, just like this, and I'm freaking out, and I grab myself to try to do like a push-up to keep the weight of the truck off me, and that's when I just shattered both shoulders, okay? There was just, the bone, how it sticks out, they rubbed together, and they were just into particles, both sides, so I had to have several surgeries to go in there and clean that up. And then this left elbow was taking most of the pressure because the weight was kind of on that left side. And again, just shattered all this bone that was bone to bone, and it just, all the particles. So I've had several surgeries on that left elbow, and it still doesn't fully extend out. If you guys follow me on any length of time, you see that that's as far as that elbow goes. It stops there. It won't go any farther out. So anyway, that was painful. And I remember them yelling, "Hey, you're on Sergeant English, back off, stop." And the guy said, "I'm going to turn left." And somebody yelled, I'm glad he did, "No, you will rip his skin right off his body. Back off of him." And I was thinking, please just roll forward. And then I thought, well, no, the Humvee's on my neck, so that would probably kill me. So he backed off of me. And I remember my life literally was flashing before my face. I swear I saw me and my grandpa when I was a kid fishing. I saw me hauling hay with a bunch of friends. I remember jumping into a big rock pit quarry when I was in high school. There's just so many things that flashed before my face, and I don't know. I don't think I died. I didn't go anywhere and have an outer body experience, but I remember those things happening so quickly. And then when he finally got off me, which seemed like an eternity, probably 3 seconds, finally got off, I was pissed. I had blood coming out my eyes, my nose, my mouth, my ears. I had yelled, kind of, like you're deadlifting or squatting. And I ruptured my esophagus inside. I was just spitting blood. And I jumped up. My eyeballs were all blood red. I jumped up. I went to chase a guy that ran over me. He backed up a little bit. And then, of course, I passed out. And then I wake up. I'm laying on a gurney. There's a helicopter had been called in. Medevac was there. They were cutting the clothes off of me. And but just to make sure there's no bones sticking out or whatever. And I remember some guys, trying to cheer me up and whatnot. And then I morphined out the yin yang. I'm telling you, they put me in a good place really quickly. When I woke up on the bird, we were flying to the hospital. I remember looking up and a guy was wiping my mouth and he was wiping the blood off my face. And I looked up, I said, first off, okay, I'm still alive. Am I going to make it? And he goes, just rest. And he shot me full of morphine again. And I woke up on a x-ray table and I had a guy on this arm, guy on this arm, guy on each leg, and a guy on my head pulling me to stretch me out because my spine had basically kinked up and stayed in that kink. So they were trying to straighten it out. I don't know who in the hell made that decision, but I wanted to kick their fucking ass. Excuse me for cussing, but it pissed me off. So I I jolted and brought them together, you know, kind of like on Arnold. Yeah, and so they would drug me up again, and I woke up a day later, and they said, yeah, you've got several broken, fractured, shattered, crushed bones in your body. We're going to need to have you transported, you know, back to your unit. So I laid in the hospital bed for about a week. There was Humvee tire marks on my back, and I had everything broken up. I had a cast here, and I had a cast here, and a cast over there. They flew me back, and that's when the good pills came. That's when I got addicted. I would have to say, after that accident, that was probably the most depressed that I'd ever been in my entire life, because I was literally non-functional. I could not function as a person, much less a man. I was non-deployable. I was not in the MOS to be sitting at a desk. Excuse me, not able to do anything. I couldn't do PT, I couldn't do push-ups. The doctors actually told me, Sergeant English, you will never be able to walk properly again with the way your back is kinked up and all the bones that you've broken. You're going to be lucky to be able to even walk without a limp. So for probably 2 years, I ran off friends, family, loved ones, businesses, relationships, because I had no clue in the world what I was saying, what I was doing. I was in a dark place, not suicidal. I don't think I thought about suicide. I don't remember. But I do remember that I was okay with not talking to anybody. I was a loner just like I was when I was younger. I didn't want to have any friends. I just wanted to be who I was, drugged up, hooked, and connected, and dedicated to the drug, the feeling, the rush, the get away from pain feeling. Who doesn't want to feel pain? Nobody does. And so that's why it was okay to me to take these pills, to take this alcohol, and to drink them together. It wasn't. I'm here to tell you it wasn't. It was the wrong decision I made. I've made it for decades, literally. And I'm at the turning point. I'm at a crossroad. I'm standing on top of the fence right now because in the last month or so, I have had no sleep. I've been planning things, different businesses, different companies, overseas accounts, supplements, you know, FitCon, and just so much stuff going on that required me to be up 20, 21, 22, 23 hours a day, get an hour to 3 hours of sleep, get up, dose up on caffeine, my pre-workout, and go for it, and work out a time or 2 or 3 a day and just kind of blend in. And I was just making a mistake after mistake after mistake. I was losing focus of who I really am, and I'm sorry. This is a apology video for most, a coming out of the addiction closet for some, and a life is okay. It is what you make of it. Pull your head out of your ass for others. So, in close, I will not take these pills. I'm going to show you why. This has been taped, okay, all the way down inside there. Okay, I'm not going to show you the label because it's got my name and all that information on it. Okay, here, this one, it says if you're pregnant or whatever, so I'll show you that side. But look, this has not been broken, okay? It's not been opened, and I'm not going to open this damn pill bottle. I do have some other pills, but they're not as strong as the one that's in that taped up bottle. I had to do this video to pull my fucking head out of my ass to know that A, I'm a good person, B, you're great people, C, I love myself enough not to get addicted to drugs. I've actually made the decision now not to take those damn pills. I've texted 3 or 4 people, and I said, hey, I'm in a dark place right now. What do I do? Don't do this, don't do that. People can't be bothered right now. Too many busy people. You have to help yourself. And if you reach out to somebody and you get reached out to, make sure you mean it. And when you get reached out to in your good place, in a good place, please help that person that reaches out to you, because their life and other people's around them lives could depend on what your answer is. In close, yes, I've been addicted to pills. I've been addicted to alcohol. You see me drinking quite a bit on my videos, but that's really a controlled situation. My standard of partying is to pour rum and coke, drink it on a back porch, smoke a cigar, and go to bed after I barely finish half of it. I don't drink and party anymore. You'll see me drinking beer in videos, but that's only once every month or 2 or 3 or 4 months, okay? I'll drink a beer with steak probably once every couple of weeks. But here it is. If you're depressed, if you're sad, if you think you're fat, if you think you're ugly, if you think you're weak, if you think you're lesser than the person next to you that has a better job, more money, bigger car, sexier wife, better looking husband, whatever, then shut the fuck up, because nobody's better than you. You are a person. You are beautiful. You are strong. You can get stronger. You can comb your hair differently. You can wear a different shirt, but it's all material. You got to go with what's in your heart. You got to change what's in your mind. You got to fix what goes on inside your soul. That's all up to you. You can't rely on these popular Instagrammers or YouTubers that basically lie about what they're doing or where they're at or what the picture actually looks like. Don't worry about those guys. I guarantee you, if you looked at their bank account and you looked at your bank account, probably 50% of them are more broke than you are. Okay? So stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Keep up with you, because you have you. You have a car, you have a house, you have a cell phone, you have bills, you have family, you have something. Put 100% into that something that you are, and remember, what puts money on the table, what puts a savings account into the black, what puts gas in your car is what you do, the grind, your job, what you punch the clock to do. Lifting is a luxury, but it's for health as well. So make sure you get to the gym. Make sure you get the endorphins and the testosterone and the growth hormone that is released throughout your body while you're training to give you that sense of satisfaction, to feel better about your life. And don't let it take over your life, because it don't pay the bills unless you're the top 2% of the bodybuilders in the world. There's only probably 20 to 30 that can actually survive and have an extremely enormous, I don't even know the words I'm looking for, but a really awesome life by the earnings that they make on a bodybuilding stage. Nobody else can. Make it a hobby. Make yourself known that you are happy. Know yourself. And if you're sad, reach out. If you're depressed, reach out even more. If you're suicidal, please reach out. And if you're a good person, and if you are feeling good and you're in a depressed state, but somebody else reaches out to you and you know how to pull them out of it, by God, better do it. Because you don't want that person to be on the fence, walking, and a wind blow and they fall off in the wrong direction. You could have been there to say, whoa, grab them and pull them back up and say, hey, I'm here, man. What do you need to talk about? Hell, let's go get a beer, or let's go grab a steak. Let's go get a workout in. Let's sit on a back porch and smoke a cigar. Let's go fishing. Let's go hunting. Let's do something to get you. You may not want to take them hunting if they're suicidal, and I'm not joking with that either. I'm saying it for real. Please be cognizant of how this person feels. If they're depressed, you might not want to take them drinking. You might want to take them to a drag race. Especially, you don't want to take them to a gun range. You really want to make sure that you do what needs to be done. Be cognizant. Think about it. Don't put yourself in harm's way, but make sure you can direct them into a situation to what might help them save their own lives and save the lives around them. I feel better. I wanted to tell you this. Thank you so much for listening, if you've actually listened to the entire 20 plus minutes of this boring video. But it was me. I was confessing my drug addiction. I'm no longer addicted to drugs. These pills are old prescriptions. This one right here was after my last surgery that still is good for another 6 months or so, but I'm not going to open it. I will drink a beer, and I will make me a rum and coke probably tonight. It's 4 o'clock on Friday night. But I love life too much to walk down that road again, to push people in my lives that I love very dearly and love me away again. I'm not going to do it. I'm chronically in pain. I'm flying to Canada in about 4 days. I don't want to be that good person. I don't want to be drugged up. I don't want to be in a fog. I want to be there because I want to be there. I want to be there because you guys support me, and I want to be there because you guys inspire me. Okay? I'm glad I talked. Hopefully you guys stick around for another couple videos. I'm probably going to post some more FitCon stuff. Thank you guys so much for supporting that. And thank you for being who you are. I'm going to put my social media in the description box. My Instagram, my Twitter, my Snapchat, and my Periscope, and my websites, and all that other stuff like that. Please check it out, if you will. Until next time, intensity rules, train hardcore, love yourself, slap yourself, and say, I'm important. I am somebody, and I can change my life in order to change other people's lives. And we'll see you next video.